Now we have a special guest. Your name is Laura Gaskin. It's so nice to meet you and have you on the Quilt Show.
My pleasure.
And Laura, you've been a quilter, but your previous life and the kind of passion for years was librarian, right?
Yes, I was a librarian for over 24 years here in Asheville.
Oh, wow.
And I had the privilege of handling a lot of books, which gave me a chance to learn. I learned a lot about quilting. That's how I first got interested. I'd had quilters in the family, but they tended to work with, they were traditional. They worked with a white background and small pastel prints. And I admired their work, but it didn't really speak to me.
Sure.
And I started discovering Amish quilters. I saw the work of Nancy Crow and other contemporary quilters, and I started getting excited about that.
Well, then you, I also heard that you started dyeing fabric.
I
Before
started
you were
dyeing
even
fabric.
a quilter,
In fact,
you started
I did that
dyeing.
with the library book.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh, so you're learning from the
I followed
books.
recipes and started blending colors, and then I became sort of a mad scientist blending colors. And soon I had a couple of boxes full of fabric, so I had to do something with them. So that was when I finally signed up for a quilting class.
That's great. Now then, you quickly jumped into, like you said, Nancy Crow, and I look at the quilts that are behind us here, and they're not Nancy Crow quilts, but I can see the influence.
Well, I didn't really like following rules. I didn't really enjoy templates or paper piecing or any of those things, even though they produced beautiful results. It just wasn't for me. I wanted to do something looser and more improvisational.
Okay, so about how many years do you think that you stayed in this area?
Probably about 10 years.
Okay, so now then, you're still a quilter, but you're really an embroiderer now. You've really found a passion in embroidery, and I want to show everyone a sample of what it is that you do. So let's take a look at this particular image right here, and tell us about this.
Okay, this is a winter scene. I wanted to set a wintry mood. What we've got here are some crocus bulbs that have been forced in a pot. There's an apple that was probably imported from a warmer place. So somebody indoors is trying to establish some wintertime comforts. Outside, we've got an owl hunting. He's hunting for his dinner. The trees are bare, the moon is full. So I'm trying to set a mood there, contrasting the natural world with what we try to do with it for our comfort.
Well, and your embroidery is what you're going to teach us today. So where do you start with something? I see a line drawing here. Is this one of the first things that you do?
Well, there's something that comes even before the line drawing, Ricky.
Okay.
Inspiration.
All right.
Okay.
So what do you use for inspiration?
Well,
I mean, I see all these items over here, but how does that translate into your work? Talk about that.
These are my toys. I just keep an open mind. I'm always looking for images that speak to me that I think I might want to incorporate in a quilt picture, in one of the embroidered pictures. So I have some of the things here that I've acquired recently. These two plums I acquired between my car and the building where we're taping this.
Oh my gosh.
So just keeping an eye out.
And like there's
for,
the key.
An old-timey key, yeah. Love the shape.
The shells.
Shells.
An apple.
This apple is going to
this-
come into play a little
we're
later
gonna learn
as we
about
go
that.
along. Yes.
And what is this crazy
I think
looking
that's a
thing?
seed pod for a poplar tree.
And the
I hope I'm right.
feathers. So
Feathers.
how do those
This is the
become an
owl
inspiration, though? How, I mean, it's one thing to collect them, and I'm thinking that the plums are going to deteriorate, the apple's going to rot at some point. So how do you keep
Well, it'll
these?
be preserved in my embroidery picture.
Oh, because you'll have already put it in there.
This is for inspiration. I've also brought along a notebook with pictures that I find, including some exhibit cards, things like that, that I find that I can look to for inspiration.
And I think that's important for people to know. You're not going to duplicate the works of these people, but you're looking for things in these that become design elements or opportunities for you. Is that right?
Exactly. I think there's nothing more intimidating than deciding, okay, today I'm going to design a new picture, and I sit down and look at the blank page, and what do? Well, I've got items I've collected. They'll take me back. I get inspiration there. I'll get inspiration from a journal. My phone is full of pictures of spring wildflowers and things like that. So I collect things all along so that when design time comes around, I'll be ready.
Great. All right. So now you've made a drawing here. Have you sketched this yourself from your head?
Yes.
And this would become the pattern for the embroidery
That's
you just saw.
exactly right.
So let's do a simple pattern. I think
Okay.
you've got the apple, and let's just.
I chose an apple for this demonstration since it's a simple image that involves a lot of colors. This particular apple has a lot of yellow undertones, so so that let me work with the yellow and the red.
Sure.
I drew the apple.
Right.
Next, I do my embroidery on needlepoint canvas, but it's not a needlepoint stitch. It's
And where do you get that?
Improvisational stitch.
A craft store?
I have to order it.
Oh, okay.
I order it off the internet because I can't find it locally.
Okay, now what is it called again?
This is number 10, brown Penelope canvas.
Okay.
It is number 10 because there are 10 holes per inch, and you can see on here that there are a lot of opportunities offered for stitching. Yeah,
Okay.
because I'm going to stitch in a diagonal pattern, and got different choices there.
All right, so how do you transfer that onto your...
Well, it's really pretty simple. It's very low tech. I put the canvas on top of the image, and then I'll take a fabric marker. I'm going to start with the purple one because it's a lighter color. I have brought along a black marker too because sometimes I find as I go along that I need to do some edits. This line here, for instance, doesn't look very good. What I can do is take the darker black marker to do my edits so that they'll show up.
Okay.
If I start with black and want to make a change, then I can end up with a lot of sort of blurry looking stuff there.
All right. So now tell me the floss that you're using to do this with.
Okay. This is DMC. There are other good brands out there too. I tend to get the DMC because it's so easily available.
Okay.
You know, it's at the big chain stores.
And 2 strands, 4 strands?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. 6 strands. I use the whole 6 strands here.
Really?
And it gives it a chunky look that I like. It makes it more distinctively my own, I think.
Okay.
Because I do a diagonal stitch with the on the needlepoint canvas with the cotton floss. Something I like about the cotton floss is that it does have a glow. It's got a little sheen to it. I sort of experiment a little bit with wool thread for this. But the colors are more limited, and it doesn't have the glow.
And that's what you like.
Yeah, this gets a
Well,
glow.
if that was something
gives it some depth.
somebody like that, they could certainly use that.
They could.
All right, let's talk about your needle.
Okay, the needles, these are chenille needles. They have large holes, so they'll accommodate those 6 strands. That's what's important. It is a short needle. The sharpness of the point is not really very important in this work, so one needle I'll use for
a long time.
A long time,
okay.
yeah. This pack of, what I've got, 6 new needles. I may be using this pack in a couple of years still. Because they'll last, unless I lose them, and usually they turn back up. But you can tell this one, for instance, is pretty dull now because it's been used a lot.
All right. So now I'm holding up step number 1 here. Tell us what's happened so far to this.
Okay, step 1, I've outlined. I like to use the outlining. I outline all the images in my pictures. They make me think of block prints, the lines, the dark lines in the block
So
prints.
when you say outlining, are you using black and specifically that's your thing?
Black.
All right.
Yes.
So the line that you traced is going to be black.
Yeah, and again, that was through experimentation.
Okay.
Believe me. So the line I trace is going to become black. Often I add the dark colors first. This time, because the yellow is an undertone on this apple, I added the yellow, the lightest colors first on this one.
And you're just doing a down and up stitch. Now you're going to stitch for us in a second, but I want to go ahead and show how the progression is going on these guys.
Okay, I've added shading, the darkest colors, along with the lightest now. That's been added.
All right, now I'm going to put these 2 side by side because this is the lightest and the darkest, and now then we're starting to see a little bit more pink and so forth.
Seeing some color blending starting to come in here.
All right, now is this the one you're going to stitch on?
Yeah, I'll put in a stitch or 2 here with some of the red.
Do you work diagonally or does it matter?
Typically I do. In this apple, I've tended to make it a little more round. If you look at an image like the apple in this piece here, you can see that I worked around. In the vase, you can see that I worked in different directions. But most typically, it will be like you see in the sky here with stitches going lower left to upper right.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so people could just fill this in. And you learned from the School of Doing.
I did.
And so you can learn from the School of Doing as well. So what I would like to do now is let's talk about when you've got a finished piece, how you then take the finished piece to fruition by taking your embroidery and using the black, which I think is that throwback to the Amish that you love so much.
I think so too. And I use the black and white as my window frame. Also, I like the black and white because it speaks to me of folk artists, and that's another inspiration. I'll take the black and lay it around, start building a frame. try out different colors.
And this is auditioning. This isn't actually sewing raw edges. This is auditioning,
absolutely,
right?
absolutely. I'll have this pinned up on my wall, and I'll just try different colors, and I'll step back, and I'll look to see which colors I think are best bringing out the colors in the piece itself.
And actually, I kind of I like all the different
like
colors
them all?
in that particular way. But that's how you go about doing that, and then you build your borders as you go. Now, do you do them on a background or a foundation or?
Well, I'll use cotton batting, and then for the backing, I brought a piece of backing here that probably a little small for this, for what this work will be when it's finished. But I wanted to show that I do interface the backing. These pieces have a lot of thread in them. Yeah, it's black on black,
It's
so I'm afraid it
black on
doesn't
black,
show very
so it's
well.
strong, okay.
But this has a lot of weight because of the amount of thread that it takes to fill in an embroidery. So I interface the backing to make it stronger.
Well, I want everyone to see some more of these embroideries.
Good.
Alex, you want to see these
Yeah, I really
embroideries
do.
actually. Let's just take a look at these. And they're heavy and they're dense. And so when these are hung, I can tell that they hang
Look at me, I'm going like this.
very,
Ricky.
very
I wanna
nicely.
see
I know,
too.
well,
I'll
look
be
at
polite.
this. It's fabulous.
It's beautiful.
This one is called Late in the Day. It's late in the day, late in the year, late in the month of November. Again, trying to evoke a certain feel of the time of year.
I've never seen anything like this.
It evolved as a personal statement. It
Man.
really did. A hot day here. We've got crops ripening, strong sun.
Look at the rows of the planted rows there.
crop
That's
rows.
yeah. All right, and there's a story to this one. I believe you said. I'd like
this
to talk
one I
about.
made to accompany a poem. In the poem, it's about a birth in a family that followed soon after a death, and so this was to illustrate the progression of life in that family.
Wow, that is just beautiful.